Crankshafters only drink Red Bull.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. You may notice that this is a new entire set that we have here. A lot has changed. It's been a while, first off. How long has it been since the last podcast?
Months.
Yeah.
Months on end.
There's
but it's
a lot.
only because we've been planning this new and improved podcast app.
Yeah, this is in our garage. You may have seen the YouTube video where we started to work on this. It's a work in progress. But this is in one corner. It's beautiful. I wish you could see how the cameras look from where you are. They're stacked very precariously, but it does work. But this is our set. Red Bull sent us quite a few drinks. So we now have those sitting here as a set decoration. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to get the podcast back off the ground. We have a lot of guests lined up, and it should be good. But we have a lot to go through today because we have a ton of catching up to do with you guys. This is a new channel. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. This will be the home of the podcast, any shorts that go with the podcast, everything podcast related. How are you guys today? How you guys doing? Excited to be back?
Yeah, I'm excited to be back. I got a check engine light above me. Couldn't be happier.
You're used
That's
to
about
that.
right.
I'm usually it's right in front of my eyes, but
It's a good place.
it's okay. It's now it's above me in my dreams.
Noah and a check engine light just go hand in
They
hand.
go hand in hand. They're good match.
Yeah, we've collected some various objects here. Some from channel history, some from just various different places. But I like this set. Some things might change, but tell me what you think in the comments about this. I'm a fan. We've got some fake plants as well. Yes, they are fake. We wouldn't be able to really probably take care of them.
We're not smart enough.
That's true. But so a ton has been happening. I guess we have a lot to catch up on. We have right now on the main channel the 9/11 series, which is playing out. And the goal for that is to get the car done by Car Week, which is August 11th?
Is the first official day of Car Week. Is the
Yeah.
11th.
We need the car done pretty much by August 1st because we have to drive across the entire country to get the car there. But we can let you in on some of the plans for that car. We'll do that momentarily. What else can we discuss today? We have just a lot going on. We have some questions from you guys over on Instagram. That's a great place. Make sure you're checking our story if you want to ask questions on the podcast or leave some comments here. We can go through some of them as well. But other than that, there is a lot to be said. I would say, first off, some of you might know, what is the biggest change? I used to work at another account called Our Future. That has now ceased. We are full-time doing YouTube for Captain Crankshaft. Noah also is doing YouTube. Noah, you want to give yourself a little shout-out?
Yep. Channel name is Noah Perlo. I'm doing like vlogs, fitness stuff, cooking stuff. It's all just pretty much a good time. I couldn't exactly narrow down just yet, so if you're there for high quality content, then that's what my channel will consist of. So
Noah is incredibly high quality on his content. I literally saw him last night making food, and he made this beautiful salmon and kale dish. And he then was standing on a chair about 10 minutes later with a bunch of lights taking photos for his story, which goes away in 24 hours. So if you want quality, this man...
Some
how
say
it's done.
he doesn't even eat the food. He just looks
I don't even eat the food. It gets cold and I throw it right away. It was just for the story post.
I love it, but
Quality
it looked good.
people.
it looked
did look
great.
good.
It looked. I got hungry looking at
I
it
saw
just
that,
on camera.
And then I ate a cheeseburger.
That's all right.
Yeah. It did look good,
Saw
though.
that and I ate a hamburger.
But we have been full throttling on the YouTube channel and all the social media. We've sort of turned ourselves somehow into a mini content creator house, sort of. We're all sitting here all day working on videos, which is a dream. I love
It's pretty awesome.
So,
It's pretty awesome. I would just like to say that since the last podcast, we have fully shifted to living the dream of being full-time content creators. And although it is sometimes a uphill battle, we are consistently making progress, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I literally, when I was 11 years old, I used to sit and watch YouTube all day. I didn't watch TV.
Minecraft videos?
There was probably some Minecraft videos in there. It was a lot of Forza Horizon videos, I think.
AR-12 gaming.
There was a lot of AR-12.
love
And
that
he was
guy.
like, Forza.
Yeah.
And that got me angry. But when I was 11, I was watching YouTube, and I just so badly wanted to make videos for a living, and nothing ever worked. And, a little while back, I was making a different account, which happened to finally see success. And now I am doing content creation for car stuff, which is literally like my dream. And it wouldn't happen without all you guys watching. So thank you so much. This is such a cool opportunity. I hope that with the podcast, we can, get a lot of interesting automotive related guests. We already have a bunch lined up who I think you guys will like, but we want to turn this into kind of just our chill little spot where we can, bring on cool people, talk about cars, everything. So
It'll be a bit of a break from the craziness that our main channel is going to be bringing, especially with the 911 build over the next few months. This will kind of be the place where you'll find out more behind the scenes stuff, but also just a little bit more into insight of who we are, almost off camera in a sense, just because this is how we actually talk to each other and actually are in real life.
that's true. Yeah. This is just like a chill spot. You can hang out, crack open a drink with us, maybe a Red Bull, not some of any of that garbage that he's got over there.
Hey, this was sent to me by some nice folks. Okay?
I bet they're nice, but
Red Bull's better.
we got wings over here.
Hey, I'm not tied to 3D. Red Bull is better. Red Bull is better. But thank you 3D Energy.
They gonna see that
They
now.
gonna see that. No,
No more 3D
One thing I
penis.
just wanted to say real quick is I think we've mentioned this before, but this is grassroots stuff. We started a YouTube channel called Limited Slip back in the day, back in high school. You can
Still up.
You can go find it. You can go find our old videos. It's us three dwindling around with cars, doing the same old. So it's crazy to be in this position now.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want, I remember, we had that channel. I had already made a bunch of channels before, and we made that channel together. It took us forever to come up with the name, which turns out is a terrible name. You go look up Limited Slip. Unless you sort by channel, you will never find it because it's bad search engine optimization, SEO. You search Limited Slip, only videos of Limited Slip differentials come up. However, I remember us making videos there. We would go film for the day, try to find anything to film, and then we'd just come back and all stand over each other while we edit. One person would edit, and we'd all just watch and be like, no, I don't like that.
That's bad.
That was
But-
how it went.
Those videos are great. They're still up. They're pretty cringy, some of them, but
I think they're pretty good.
journey.
man. I
I'm
like
sure-
They
them.
are good. They are
I don't know if
good.
it's because it's us. But I
Honestly,
like it.
high school, we did a good job.
Yeah,
we
for,
did a good
for the
job.
time period, it's
Yeah.
pretty high quality
yeah.
stuff.
First YouTube channel. All right, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about just whatever's going on, man. We're just catching back up with everybody, giving them the rundown. We can talk about the 911, which is something that is definitely probably our biggest project currently, our biggest project ever, actually. Something we're very excited about. So obviously we have the 911. It was the cheapest running and driving 911 in the country when we bought it.
Manual coupe. To be
Manual
fair,
coupe.
but-
Yeah, you can find an automatic convertible if you really wanted to.
But no one wants that garbage.
But that's trust me, that's not a real car. Sorry. But
we're not sorry about that.
yeah.
We
But
stand by that statement.
the 911, there's a lot to be done with it. We've kind of given some hints, but the plan is to make a full Safari 996. So that's all in the works. There's a lot that goes into that, and there's a lot of moving parts, especially if we want to get it done on a timeline. But the
A lot
plan,
of stuff we can't talk about yet, but
yeah, but we need to lift the car. We need to put lights on the car. We need to throw a roof rack on the car. We need to throw bigger wheels and tires on the car. There's some other little goody performance mods going on the car. There's a lot, more than I can actually think of, and it makes my brain hurt because the car, we have 2 months to finish the car?
we also just need to make sure it'll actually drive itself across the country under its own power.
Yeah, that's the scariest
it
part.
will. But I don't know.
I think it will. No,
so.
I think it will. I think based on its current performance, it will.
Puffing a little smoke out the back.
Yeah.
Never hurt nobody.
We just put an exhaust on the car, and you may have seen that video. If you haven't, definitely go check it out. I'm really pretty happy with the way that video came out. The exhaust sound, it changed the entire feel of the car. It was very airy, quiet before. There was really no sound to it, and now it sounds like an old Porsche race car. It sounds so cool. I just can't help but want to drive it every time I'm sitting down. I'm like, oh, I should go for a drive. I have nowhere to go, but
Yeah, before we did the exhaust in that car, I got to drive it a handful of times, and it was fun. But as someone, I've owned some loud cars in my time. It never was one of those cars that it begged you to bring out you kind of just drove it around and cruised. But after we put that Soul exhaust on there, which honestly none of us really knew what to expect from because there was no good videos of that exhaust on the internet, it just sounds killer. It's the absolute perfect vibe, especially for what we're going with the car, with the off-road build. It's got that little bit of like a low end, like kind of grunty sound. It's not super, super high pitched and like race car. It's just very old 911, and I think it's just an amazing sound. Totally transformed the car. So
Yeah.
thank you to Soul for helping us out with that, and you guys should definitely watch that video and give it a listen.
Yeah.
I think something that exhaust install particularly taught me is that you cannot judge an exhaust setup by a YouTube video.
Definitely
you just
not.
can't. Like, the way that the microphone is on most devices is just gonna not capture like the actual sound, and whether it clips the mic or not, like, it just doesn't do it justice. I think we did it justice in the video. I think it sounds pretty close to what it sounds like in person, but in person it sounds fantastic, and I was not expecting it to sound that good.
Yeah,
to be honest.
It is really hard, especially when you're looking at older cars. You'll always see videos that are from like 7 years ago, and you have to remember that was probably recorded on like an iPhone 5.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just it's like it's almost like an exhaust. Unless you can hear a car in person, you can't really judge an exhaust system on the internet.
It's like a podcast
tough.
microphone versus talking into an iPhone from across the room.
Exactly.
You know?
Literally, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's fair. There's like I always come across like weird old exhaust videos that look like they were filmed on like a flip phone, just all over YouTube.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
especially with 911s, because you think about it, like especially with the 996, that car came out in 1999, and there was no YouTube in 1999, but the exhaust people were putting exhaust in like 2006 cars.
Yeah.
So those videos are like right from 2009. People were putting those videos up.
Yeah, you're recording on a little like handy cam.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Little puffy guy on the top. They're like, yeah, it'll sound nice.
That sounded good back in the day.
I mean, back in the day, hey, but
They're like,
yeah,
that's immaculate.
You can't judge the sound of a car.
Got a
based
rat
on a
tail
video.
microphone on top of that thing.
And even if you record it with a perfect microphone, it's still hard to judge a car by the way it sounds by anything. Like you go on, who is it? R1 Motorsports always posts like the GT3, Carrera GT, all those crazy exhausts. And like you hear one of those cars with like the full Dundon system in person, and it's just so much louder and shriekier and sharper than you can even possibly ever capture on camera through headphones, whatever you're watching. So if you're looking at exhaust, try to hear a car in person before you buy it, because you might not get what you want, or it might be way better than what you want, which is what happened with us, which is the good way for it to come
That's
out.
a lovely outcome.
That's
Yeah.
a win-win.
Dude,
We're very
testing that
happy.
exhaust is scary. I thought we were going to get pulled over.
Yeah.
We were like driving,
In Mexico.
quickly
Yeah.
in Mexico, around Mexico City. And Noah did.
Bro, isn't Mexico City in New Mexico?
What?
Mexico.
What?
Did you just ask if Mexico City is in New
City
Mexico?
is in Mexico.
Okay, that doesn't
It's
make
the capital of Mexico.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. It might not be the
No,
capital.
it is.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Guadalajara.
Guadalajara.
We're all so stupid.
Yeah, we are pretty stupid.
I'm decent at geography. I was bad at everything else, but geography I might be able to actually be all right.
Yeah. He takes the cake on me with geography. That's
Well,
for sure.
it's not
That's
in
for
New
sure.
Mexico. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
That's New Mexico City.
Okay, so we're in Mexico
We
City.
were there.
All right, so
Yeah,
we
we're in
stop,
Mexico
stop.
City, though.
We're in Mexico City, right outside. And Noah may have done several pulls because Noah's a little bit, he's a little bit more willing driver. to go fast on the
He's
open
eager
road.
behind the pedal, you know?
Yeah, so he was doing some clips for us, which were quite loud. And then we stopped and we were about to leave, and a local town sheriff was pulling up towards us. And I thought for sure we were going to get pulled over. But he
I
just let us-
decided after all of it, I should drive the car back, which was dumb.
I said it out loud. I said, we just did like a bunch of pulls, and like there could be police coming here, and you want to now drive the car out of the scene.
Well, Noah was already in the GTI.
That's like asking to hold the murder weapon as you walk out of the
I
crime
literally
scene.
like, pull out of the spot where we all got into the car. Just a cop coming the other way. I'm like, all right, well, he's going to turn around and get me. But he didn't.
Will
He
looks at
didn't.
me. Will looks at me. He's like, if I get a ticket, I'm gonna be so mad at you.
I was gonna.
What's extra funny about that whole situation is like there was a public works guy sitting in a pickup truck, and I walked like half a mile just to go ask him if he was cool with what we were up to and if he was gonna like do anything shady or call the cops on us in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh no, I wouldn't do that. I'm cool. I'm a cool guy. I wouldn't do that."
He didn't, I don't think.
And I don't think he did, but it would be funny if he just like
He's
said
like,
that
"Yeah."
and then we passed
I'll
him
tell
and
you
he was
what.
like,
I did the first couple pulls, and I did the first pull, and he was sleeping in his truck. Like, must have been on like some
Woke him
break,
up.
and he woke up. And there was some weird dude who like drove by and stuck his tongue out at me for some reason. Yeah, he literally. If you're an audio listener, sorry, you won't get the full experience on this one, so you should come to YouTube. But he just like leaned out the window as I was driving by, went.
He did it to us too.
He did it to everybody.
He might have been like, he might have been like 72. Like, all right. Anyways, yeah, we didn't get pulled over. Long story short, I drove back, no problems. Car still sounds excellent, and
Sounds good.
yeah, like we said, if you want to go hear how it came out, check out the video. We got some nice clips at the end.
It's got tailpipe smoke.
It does.
Well,
Yeah.
all the old 911s when you start them up, they're not working right if a little bit of oil doesn't burn out the back.
Yeah,
It's not just on startup,
It was
buddy.
on all.
It was on full throttle for sure.
That's just the oil going back out
It's
to
just
the
that
atmosphere.
separator, you know.
You can't keep all the oil in there, bro.
No, certainly not. That's just blow
Yeah,
by.
this guy knows about not keeping all the oil.
I know. Yeah, I'm looking
wish-
at a pile
I
right
wish
now.
you could pan the camera over to what I'm seeing right now. That oil almost took me out while we were doing the garage. You'll see it in the video. I almost had a 200-pound door crush me because I slipped on 968 juice.
Yeah, we did in the garage video. Will, I think you nearly died like 3 times.
Yeah, it wasn't my best work, but
It was fun to watch.
pretty
That's
funny.
for
Man,
sure.
my car has been horrifically unreliable recently.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's quickly just update on your car situation because that is interesting. So Noah has a 968, which was his grandfather's car, which he inherited, which is a beautiful car. He's never going to get rid of it. I truly believe that. It's awesome. It's sitting in the garage right over here. He also had, for a little while, a 4Runner, which he was using every day to drive around. I borrowed his 4Runner for something, and it's not my fault. This was going to happen anyway, but I was coming down a hill at an intersection, and the brakes freaking just failed, like fully failed. Like I put the pedal down, nothing. Like maybe a little bit of like kind of starting to slow itself down, but there was other cars. I was rolling towards an intersection, so I just yeeted the parking brake foot style, which kind of did a little bit, and then just turned it against the curb so it would stop. Eventually, I was able to kind of maneuver back up the hills very slowly and then turn into a parking lot, which was there. That car's now sold. Noah, what did you do with that car?
Yeah, so that car I had multiple shops tell me that they would not work on that car because it was too rotted. And that was 100% my fault for not getting a PPI, just buying it hastily. But whatever, it was a cheap car. I needed a daily driver at the time. So I bought this car like last year. Multiple shops, like, we don't want to touch this thing. This thing sucks. Like, you need a new car. And I'm like, I know. So finally, I'm just like, all right, you know what? This is the last straw. I don't want to put another dime into this thing. I'm selling it to Carmax. Carmax gave me $1,500 for it. I watched the guy go underneath the car and then come back up and go underneath the car again and take a bunch of pictures of the undercarriage, but they still gave me $1,500 for it. So that is out of the picture, but now I'm left with a 1995 Porsche 968. Which is
Not the most reliable daily in the world.
It's way better than a 4Runner, to be
it
honest.
has
with
a
you.
hand-built engine.
It
It's
ha-
just
yeah.
the hands are your hands.
Honestly, the engine is not the problem. It's
That's
all
fair.
the old car other parts, like the wheelbase.
That's an apparent.
Okay, but that's the oil. He's pointing
Yeah.
to the oil
Yes.
puddle on the ground. That's because I installed the rear main seal wrong because nobody's perfect.
That won't affect the
But
way it
honestly,
really runs,
honestly, the
though.
car has 10,000 miles on it since the rebuild. Like that's pretty
Is
impressive.
your clutch still doing weird stuff?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's probably just because of oil from the rear main seal.
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
onto
Well,
it.
yes, but also no because it was doing that sort of immediately after the
Okay.
rebuild.
Moral of the story is Noah now has just an old Porsche as a daily, which is a cool thing to have, but also at the same time not always the most reliable thing when you need to drive places.
It's not awesome.
It did break. We went up to Vermont for Noah's birthday to drive around, and there's a vlog on Noah's channel if you want to see it. But the car did happen to have some issues. I
broke.
won't spoil the video, but yeah, it broke.
Yeah, you can go check. We'll link the video somewhere.
Yeah,
but
I'll link it in the description.
That's a nice vlog. We took the 996 and the 968 up to Vermont with some unexpected
always
breakage,
unexpected
but we got the job done and fixed. Now I will say, having touched every single bolt on that car, it is pretty quick and easy for me to replace stuff at this point. Like,
yeah, now you know
I
everything.
have now. I hear a single sound. I'm like, oh, that's this problem that's happened 5 times already. Like I got that. All I gotta do is just stop at Home Depot, grab a quick bolt and nut combo, run back to the house, get it done 30 minutes, perfect.
There's
No
like a series.
diagnosis. I know what everything
There's like a
diagnosis. I know what everything is on that car at this point. So that's pretty useful. But right now I have a bad wheel bearing. The brakes need replacement. FCP hopefully comes to the rescue on that, maybe. And once we get that stuff done, it'll have the basics of rolling and stopping.
Didn't you say
Back to
like
safety.
might need to rebuild the struts soon too?
Yeah, I don't know. The car has really nice suspension, but it again, like on 18s, which are big wheels for this car and lower profile tires, the bumps on the East Coast are just too much for these shocks
It's
to
so
handle.
stiff.
It's just been getting beaten the shit out of for the past 2 years, 3 years on this suspension. So I think it's definitely time for a refresh, but the
This
car's
thing-
going to get a lot of work
Yo.
over time, and like Jackson said, I'll never get rid of it. So
This thing gets oddly a lot of attention, like more than the 911. Like this thing just not. I don't know what it is about it. It's so cool. I don't think you see it that often. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people see 944s, but this obviously looks a little different.
It's very different looking to a 944. Like you wouldn't confuse it with one because of how much newer it looks.
Yeah.
So like, it doesn't really. And also every 944 you see is like the paint's all faded. And it's like matte.
yeah,
and it's just
clap.
They're all like
matte
that.
red, bro.
Yeah.
That's the 944
true.
color.
matte red or like matte gray.
PTS matte sun faded red.
You know, I think that like with this car, it's because it was not really in style even when it came out, and Japanese cars like the RX-7 and Miatas and stuff were like taking over the world. And then it started getting appreciated so much more later on down the line.
This
and
looks more like a JDM
and
car.
now like the looks of this car have grown on me so much, and it gets so much attention now. It's
weird.
crazy.
Some dude literally like was ahead of me and Noah in Boston traffic, which is terrible traffic usually. But this dude's sitting ahead of us on like a weird moped. He like waves us to come up next to him, and then he like leans over to Noah, who's in the driver's seat with his window down. He's like, 911? And Noah's like, no, 968. And he's like, oh, 916. Nice.
Gives me a fist bump, floors his scooter, wham, almost hits a minivan.
That was
like,
crazy.
He was weaving in and out. It was crazy, man.
That guy must get in like 4 near-death experiences a day on that thing.
Yeah.
That's how
No,
it live.
just a couple weeks ago, my friend Peter was down here, and he's like, do people comment on this car? And I'm like, all the time, bro. And later on that night, we were just going to Wegmans to like take some photos in the supermarket. And it was like 10 p.m. And on the way there, we get some old geezer that's like giving us a thumbs up from the car. And then we park the car, and like young kids from the top of a parking garage at Wegmans are looking over the edge, and they're like, yo, that thing is pretty dope, man. What's that? What's the deal with that? We're like, this is crazy. Like, seriously, I get multiple comments every day on it.
You know what's funny is like, especially with the GT4, no one ever says anything about that car.
No.
But the M Coupe was like this.
Yeah.
I used to have a 1999 BMW Z3 M Coupe. Everywhere I went in that
That
car,
was such a
what is
cool
this?
car.
What is this? What kind of car? What kind of BMW? What is this? What is this? What is this? And there's just something to be said about a car that the design was never really in. Especially for like the time period, like this car, it looks weird, but like it's cool. That car, one of the weirdest looking cars ever made, but it doesn't look like anything else on the road because what the design cues never caught on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
It's
suddenly
unique.
just becomes like a classic.
Yeah.
And I really
There's-
appreciate a car like that. A car that people didn't, honestly, some of the best cars are cars that people hate when they're new. If
Yeah.
you look at most cars that are like cult classics, people hated them when they're new. The best example of that is the McLaren F1, which nobody bought when they were new. They were going for hundreds of thousands of dollars under sticker. Same with like even Ferrari 250 GTOs. They sold those cars for like $3,000 back when they were new
Dude,
because they couldn't sell them at sticker. But now the cars like that are literally the most appreciated cars. Even the XJ220, all those cars.
Oh, yeah.
No one
That
wanted
was a
them,
weird car.
But now everyone wants them, and they're worth millions, even like $100 million for a 250 GTO. So I think there definitely is something to be said about cars that people don't like when they're new.
Dude, I heard this thing that it was Jay Leno was talking about it, I believe. I can't remember where I heard it. But Jay Leno has owned his McLaren F1 for a very long time, like 25 years.
He
or
basically
something
bought
crazy.
that car new.
Basically. So he knew another guy. There's a story about him in LA with his McLaren F1 driving around. He sees another McLaren F1 street parked in front of a house. He goes up, knocks on the guy's door, just becomes friends with him because, you know, there's like none of these cars. How many are there in the US? Like 80 something?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So like he finds this other guy, happens to be in LA with another F1. They become friends like a year later. This is very early on. The guy calls him, is like, I sold my F1 and I made $100,000 profit. And at the time, the cars were like $800,000, $700,000, $800,000. That Jay Leno's McLaren F1 is like a $40 million car now.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is insane. Like, you're right. Some cars, I think there's cars that like got a lot of hate. Like the LFA going up in value. No one wanted that. They still, as of 2020, they still had like a bunch.
No,
they still had three, I think.
They all sold, but Lexus held on to those. Like a lot of the dealerships just held on to the cars.
But they were selling those for what, 400?
Yeah.
And now they're like 700?
Yeah, but that was just sticker price on those cars.
Yeah.
They were not, that car is one of those, they were never going under sticker. Lexus
Yeah.
lost a lot of money on those cars because they
lost a
didn't
lot.
think they'd be, and I think when they were new, they wouldn't have sold for much over the $300,000, $400,000 sticker they were going for. But I mean, even still, like those cars always got the appreciation because of Jeremy Clarkson. Jeremy Clarkson honestly made that car by just saying it's the best car ever every time he looked at one. But I don't know. That is a car that's definitely going up huge now. If you can't touch the Nürburgring edition LFA for under $1 million now, which is kind of crazy. I saw one on my way over here the other morning, and I was literally just like, what is going on? There's a guy around here.
Seeing that in the street is a nutty thing to see.
It's on the phone with Jackson, and I was like, whoa! Ah!
You're like, LFA!
Literally tripping.
I think that just to go back for 1 second, like, about comments and older cars appreciating so much, like it's really tough because now all these newer cars, and like you said, the Cayman GT4 never gets, like, rarely gets, you know, compliments or comments because like there's so many things that just like look like a modern day sports or supercar right now.
Most people don't care.
Like what older, weirder cars that were never really like that loved or popular, what they all have in common is that like feeling of like nostalgia of like, oh, I haven't seen something like that. I haven't seen anything like that in weeks or months or years.
Especially in good condition driving around. Like
Driving
my
around.
Z3 looked like a brand new car. That
car was mint.
Immaculate. So people would just like be like, oh my God, like you said, I haven't seen one of these since the 90s. It's like,
the most common question I get when, you know, people pull up to me at a stoplight in my car is, oh, what year is that? Oh, what year is that? And I'm like, 1995. Oh, it's so beautiful, you know, like.
Same with my E36
and it's like,
M3.
it brings them back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I get comments from young people, but more often than not, I get comments from people that are like, oh, I love to see that because like I used to.
Yeah, to continue that point, I feel like there's with all the new cars, it's so dull, I feel like, comparatively. Like, you see a lot of new cars that are just not all that different from one another. The only thing that's starting to change that, and not that I'm a fan of it, is like electric cars all drive the same. Like electric, there's no difference in like engines and anything like that. Like all the battery technology is pretty much the exact same. They're all using the same stuff. So like now you're seeing styling start to get a little crazy because they need to stand out from one another. But you know, most like regular like sedans and SUVs, like they all just look so similar to one another. You see like something like this and you're like, oh, that, like somebody put thought into that. Like,
yeah, I something that I want to add to that is every time we get in your girlfriend's Mazda 3, I think that we're in your GTI. It just every time it just automatically.
I've done that before.
I'm just like, oh yeah, we're going in the GTI to do the.
yeah, in fact, I think you've nearly gotten in someone else's GTI in the parking lot when we were using that Mazda 3.
Like they're like
forget.
identical cars. Like they literally drive the
They
same
sound
pretty
the same
much.
from the inside. Like
The GTI might have a dash more power, but most new cars are 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbo,
boring.
steering fast, beep at you when you go off lane. Like
Yeah.
It's also like a lot of the. It's funny because I still see so many people. Hopefully, this will teach you a lesson early in life. Girls don't care what car you have.
as long as it's clean.
No. You could have a Ferrari Enzo and you think it's going to get girls. It'll only attract 14-year-old boys.
And the wrong kind of girls.
Yeah.
That too.
It might get you the wrong girl, but it won't get you the right girl, that's for sure.
But the real thing is if you wanted a car that got you attention, not that that should matter, you should get something weird and old. Because that always commands so much. Like, people love, like, I had a friend with an E30, and that car got so much attention. Just a regular old E30.
Yours got a lot of attention too when you drove it around, right?
Yeah, that thing drove nice. Mine was in pieces in a shop for the whole time I owned it. But
That was the biggest project you've ever taken on.
Yeah, but I never finished
She
it.
shows out that one.
Oh gosh, we're finishing this one. Don't worry.
We swear.
But yeah, like there's, if you're looking to get attention in a car, like really stuff with interesting styling that's unique, that's what you want. Like that's the cool stuff that people like love to see out.
And older, like you just don't even see that many. Like even now when I see like a 70s 80s muscle car, I'm like, that's cool. Like I don't see like you just don't see old cars anymore.
It's like to the point you were making, like especially with the economy now, it's really, I mean, this is gonna sound crazy, but it's not that hard to be able to like afford something supercar-esque. If you have a decent job, good credit, you can buy $150,000 car with relative ease. And I know that's like, obviously, it sounds crazy, but it's true. So like you see nice cars drive past all the time. Like almost every time that I go out and drive, even just to Jackson's house to get work done, I see a Ferrari, I see a Bentley, I see AMGs, I see all this. But if I were to see an old BMW, I would get way more excited because like it's just someone cares enough to keep that car on the road. Someone loves that car because you don't drive that car around if you don't love it, because
that's fair.
In all reality, it's worse than most new cars to do normal stuff in. But you just drive it because you want to be driving that car. So you know that person appreciates it and you know they love it, and like you know that it's someone that's sort of like you, and it just makes you happy.
That's why I don't care about driving my old Porsche as a daily, because even though it's a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit unreliable, like I still get to drive it every day, and it's not like I don't care about the attention, but like people like to see it, you know? Like people like to see it because most people who own older cars don't take them out nearly as much as I would.
It's also good attention. The attention you get while driving an Aventador is usually not good attention.
Yeah.
It's usually dirty looks, young kids
telling you to rev it up.
Yeah, and
that,
then
I hate
people that don't care about cars look at cars like that. That's just a fact. And yeah, obviously I would look at it, but there's like I'm one in 1,000 who actually cares a lot about old cars, new cars, everything like us, like real car enthusiasts. But when you drive an old car, the people that come up with you, they're not coming up with you because, oh, I want to hear that engine. Like, oh man, how much was that? They're like, wow, like it's so cool that you have that car. Yeah. It's always good attention when you're driving like a classic. It doesn't have to be $1 million car. It doesn't have to be anything special, but just a car that you don't see a lot. It's always good attention. And I always appreciated that with my Z3 and my E36.
I also think that, yeah, there's. Oh, I'm now lost my train of thought.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
What is the best wheel and tire like ratio for most sports cars? Like, what do you like in terms of tire meat? What's your optimal tire meat?
It depends on the car. I would say for any car pre-2005, an 18 with like 40. Like a nice like what you have there.
Yeah.
And like an 18-inch wheel. But then once a car is like past 2010, I think 19s suit newer cars as well.
They're bigger.
Like most cars are just bigger. They're meant to fit bigger wheels. Most sports cars don't even come with 18-inch off-rings anymore. So for me, and then once you get past like the 90s, 80s cars, 17s look good. Yeah, so the newer cars get the bigger wheels you need, in my opinion. But I don't like anything bigger than a 20. The GT4 has 20s, and I still think they look kind of big. I wish it had 19s. So.
Yeah, the reason that I ask is because I remember being younger and always liking bigger wheels and smaller tires. And as every year that goes by, I like more and more.
The sidewall gets bigger.
The sidewall gets bigger and bigger.
Year.
And I'm like now starting to look at like stock 16s for the Porsche for my 968, and I'm like, ooh, those, you know, those chunky tires, they looked good on that stock, you know, like there's, I don't know.
I'm going to drive back because I wanted to make this point because I do think it's important. But like I was saying, like another thing about driving old cars on the road, like keeping them on the road and like taking the care is like, I remember being a kid and being like, my day was made when a cool car drove by. Mm-hmm. I hope I can do that.
My day is still made when a cool car drives by.
Yeah, totally. But like I would not stop talking about it for like a week when I was a kid. And like, if I can do that same thing for somebody else just by driving the car that I love around, like it's a win-win. Like I hope that I can make people's day in the same way that like my day was made. Because it felt so good. It was like by happenstance when the car passed by, but I was so hyped. And I know there's other kids out there. I'm sure a lot of you listening to this probably were like that when you were younger, or maybe you're younger now and you feel that way, currently. So I think that's another important part of keeping old cars on the road. for everybody to kind of enjoy.
What about your tire meat?
My tire meat, I'm with you on the sidewall grows larger and larger as time goes on. I used
never
to like
liked
them big
wheels.
wheels.
Yeah,
I never really had that like for big wheels like my Z3. I loved the 17s on that car. It had
Right.
17, but it was like, God, I'm gonna get nerdy numbers, but they were like ET14s.
Yeah.
So they were so deep dish. I had like I think 295s in the back of that car, and that car was like 2 feet long and 2 feet wide.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool like
It's
little
a
aspect
chunky
ratio.
setup.
Yeah, there's nothing better than a chunky tire. I actually people on the GT4s they do smaller brake kits. So from factory,
they
so they
can
can
run
fit
18s.
18s for the track. Yeah, and that's my dream setup for that car would be, you can fit 19s over the stock wheels, and I'd love just like I said a 19-inch BBS E88s.
What are they,
some thick
20s
ti-
now?
It's 20s, yeah. They honestly they don't look that big because the car is just
No, it's
designed
bigger.
around those wheels. And also, I'm a huge proprietor of stock wheels because no wheel except for the wheel that came on your car was designed to look good on your car. And that's something that I've definitely aged into noticing. But like the more and more I see cars on aftermarket wheels, like it takes a lot of like looking and searching and finding to find a good like aftermarket wheel that looks good on a car. Like the GT4, those like Porsche GT wheels they have on the GT3 and the GT4 and like the RSs and stuff, those wheels just look good on all those cars. And then you remember, okay, well it was designed to look good on that car. And then
Built for
you
that
start
car.
to look at other wheels. I'm like, that looks stupid, that looks stupid, that looks stupid. And like the wheels that I used to think was like, oh, HREP 101, that looks good on every car. But now I'm like, I'd rather stock wheels than
really,
most wheels.
What do you think the phases are of like most car people's journey? I know my phases. I have to think about them like out loud, but I feel like a lot of people follow the same trends. Like when you're really young and you first get into cars, like what are you immediately drawn to? Like loud, like super loud.
Wait, 1 second though. Can I just go back to the stock wheel thing for 1 second? I think in terms of aftermarket wheels take away character from a car because part of the car's character from the factory is its wheels. Maybe if you're
Agree,
talking
100%.
run-of-the-mill, Honda Civic, those people will put the wheels that they'll put on there and maybe they add a little bit of character. But if we're talking like Porsches and BMWs and sports cars,
Ferraris and
from
stuff, yeah.
Ferraris especially, like
you know what? I like. Sorry to interrupt. I like when people put wheels that were on like higher trim levels and stuff. That's totally fine. You have an M3, you throw compact or CSL wheels on it, looks great. You have a Ferrari 360. The Challenge Jolly wheels are the best looking wheels for that car. 430 Scuderia wheels are the best looking wheels for that car. F12. My friend just got an F12. It's on TDF wheels. Looks phenomenal. That's totally fine. You don't need the exact wheels it came on, but like. Some dude, the Ferrari is going to spend more money designing wheels for a car than anybody else will. Porsche is going to spend more money designing the wheels than anyone else will. And I agree. It adds to the character of the car. That's the character of the car. Those wheels, you're not going to like rip all I mean, some people might, but I'm not going to rip all the bumpers off and change everything because this is the car. This is how it was.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there is something to be said just as a devil's advocate. I agree with what you guys are saying. I think there is something to be said for like, your own personal taste. Like maybe people want something different on their car. As like there is stuff that looks very bad
No,
on certain
I
cars.
agree with you.
Yeah,
I
like some people like, maybe just a different there's definitely
Some people
wheels
like
that look
putting
bad
wheels
on your
that are
car.
white, but just a different color white of the car on the car.
I like that. He's making fun of my GTI because it has 1552 Turbo Max on it, which look cool.
They do look cool. The thing that bothers me is the white is different than the white of the car.
I just think it looks cool.
I think if they were the right white, they'd look cool.
Nah.
I don't like two different whites.
It's all right to me.
I don't want to step into this one, but what I will say is like companies that make wheels that fit a very specific category of car, that is fine with me. Like
Yeah.
an Apex EC7, for instance, is a very like cup car-esque wheel. So
Looks
if you're
good.
going to throw that on a Porsche or a BMW with the right sidewall and
Yeah.
the right fitment, it's going to look
Yeah,
great.
Apexes look good on every BMW.
It's
And
going
they're
to
kind of designed
arcades,
to look
yeah.
like BMW
wheels. Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
like, and BBS E88s. Those wheels can look good on most cars that have racing heritage because you look back at the cars that those cars are based on. Yeah, I would love those cars. I would love those wheels on my car, and that's because. Well, those wheels were on every single old Porsche race car.
Yeah.
And it's like part of the heritage and the character of the car. But I wouldn't go out and throw a Vossens on that car because even if they're cool design, they fit nice, I don't care. Those wheels have nothing to do with that car and what that car means. And that's what makes the wheel cool. And I think that that's like cool with the GTI because like they have, the Volkswagen rally cars and stuff like that and like little rally hatchback, and it does fit those wheels. Like those wheels fit the vibe of that little hot hatch kind of car.
They give it a little sprucing up and styling. It looks a little different from every other GTI.
That's more of a boring car in general, and a car that you see a lot. So I can see
out.
like Noah said about like people putting cool wheels on Civics or like something. Yeah, I don't even remember who said that, but
he did.
It's like the same thing with the GTI.
Yeah.
I just don't like the color match thing, but
the
wheels are cool, and I like when people put those wheels in like that car, Focus RSs,
Focus STs look really good with that.
Exactly, like
very Ken Block.
Yeah, and cars that you see a lot of that you need to put some spice into. I get it, but for a car that's like a real deal, like sports car, lots of design, a lot of effort went into making that a car. I always just like stock wheels. Stock wheels
Okay,
just
but
always look good.
I feel like we're getting nerdy into the wheels here, which might be a
last point.
Quick last point.
Can we agree that the very best aftermarket wheels are those modified stock wheels to like improve performance, like resto mod cars, like a Singer wheel
Fuchs.
designed after the Fuchs, the original Fuchs, or like even the Gunther Works wheel, or
when you're getting to that territory and you're paying that, those
a lot
are
of people do like the 3-piece conversions to Porsche wheels, and they do they cut like the face out and do like a forged like barrel and everything.
That's cool.
That's always super cool. Like 3-piece turbo twist.
All right, let's move out of the wheel talk. We're getting a little nerdy, but I want to go back to that other question because I do think it's slightly interesting. Like in terms of the phases of being into cars, a lot of people follow, I think, a lot of the same trends. Like I know when I was first getting into cars, anything loud, especially like WRXs and like Evos, like very JDM stuff, like GTRs. It was just the stuff that people would say online. So like it was interesting to me. And like then I grew a little bit older and it turned a lot more away from loud stuff and like just doing any mod that grabbed attention into like doing things a little bit more correctly. I'm still not great at that, but like Porsches have always been something I love, but not the car that I've like wanted in the moment. Like I've always wanted a 911. It's my dream car to have a GT3, but at the same time, like when I was younger, I like
you definitely didn't
cool.
fantasize about like a 996 a couple years ago.
No, but
now it's the best car.
I would if somebody was like, would you take this 996 or this 2002 or 2004 WRX? I'd be like the WRX.
Yeah.
Like when I was 16, that was
turbo.
Yeah, turbo's good.
I remember Jackson and I used to have conversations in his basement, like being like, I just want a turbo car, bro. I just want to hear the like that's all I want.
Big like
all
fire
I
out the
big
back.
Turbo and flames and shit.
And we're like, the girls in high school will love us. They will really like
we'll
us.
do handbrake turns.
It'll
in
be
the parking
fast.
lot.
Yeah,
That gets them every time.
It'll be fast. And like, dude, we didn't even know how to drive. Like,
and we wanted like loudest possible exhaust. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want it to like break my ears. Like I'm getting old, bro.
I don't want my neighbors to be mad.
And like I want to put bucket seats in every car, like full race seats. And I'm like, my back's gonna hurt.
Yeah, my back.
Like,
The biggest thing for me that I've evolved into is going from I don't care if it's uncomfortable to I only want it to be comfortable, and I don't care if there's body roll because at the end of the day, I'm not driving on the track. Like I am.
Dude, it's so
if
funny.
it's a street car, it's soft. It's soft setup, bigger sidewall, cushier suspension. That's all I care
It's
about.
also like we'd be kids looking at like dads at the car shows, and we're like, they're like all obsessed with like the base 911s, and we're like, man, they're such idiots, bro. Like, how do they get there? Like, they're so boring. And now we're like, oh, what I would do for just a nice, comfortable base 911 with a good, like not a too loud, but just a little loud exhaust with like the right spec. And it's like,
you know what's even the most dreamy aspect of it all is paying someone else to do the work on it.
yeah. I was like, I would see people like we would have friends. We still have many friends who own shops in the area. We'd go in, we'd see a car that's getting like full engine stuff done, and they're paying like $100,000 for the car to be there. And we're like, that's so stupid. You can just do that yourself. And now I'm like, oh, I wish I had the money to just let someone else do all the
Driving
work.
past the Porsche dealership, we're like, I bet you that those guys are paying $100,000 repairs right now. What idiots for paying anybody to do the work?
In your garage.
You can do that yourself. We do the work to our cars. That's rewarding. Bro, after a couple all-nighter Guibo installs where we didn't even do it correctly and we went to bed greasy at 6 a.m., like, I'm done with that.
Yeah, I'll happily pay a Porsche tech to do that stuff. Yeah. Oh, man.
It's too bad we're not doing that.
Especially because if something is wrong, you send it right back to the shop rather than if something's wrong for you and you got to dig back in. That's the worst thing that can happen.
I think being able to work on your car by choice is the best scenario. Like, I still like working on a car every once in a while. Like, it's very rewarding. But
Exhaust, for instance.
yeah, for the exhaust, like, that's something we can do. But the second it becomes irritating and I'm upset, I would like to pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah. So I always buy a warranty with my car. People always say don't buy aftermarket warranties.
They're great.
My aftermarket warranty on my Range Rover paid out $46,000 over my ownership and the ownership before me.
And they
I didn't have to do a
messed up.
thing. I didn't have to do a thing. I dropped it off at the shop. I gave him a $100 deductible. The car came back to me perfect. So I seriously, if you're buying a car like that and it's a car that you can get a good warranty
What'd you
on,
pay for that?
the warranty?
Yeah.
I came with the car. I didn't even.
That's
have to buy it.
awesome.
Yeah.
On that car, you need it.
And then my Audi, the warranty was $2,000, and it's already paid out like $6,000. So I've had them just go through everything.
I guess you got to get picky once you have that. Make
Yeah,
your
if
money.
you're a snaky owner, like all of us would be with warranties. Like,
mean, you want the
any
car to be
little
perfect.
sound or noise or clunk, like
Right
you
to
can
the
just
dealer.
send it right in.
That's what the warranty's for.
Yeah,
so.
they-
And I ain't worried about sending it to the dealer either. It's going right to the most expensive place.
Yeah, the tech is still getting paid for that work.
Yeah, who
so
cares? Yeah.
it's not like you're like
It's just coming out of some warranty company that's usually scamming old ladies with Camrys. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think they did with your 4Runner? I'm just thinking in my head that car going
they
to
probably
Carmax.
just gave it a scrap, to be honest.
It
and
just
took
went to,
scrap
it went to
metal.
Africa, bro. I brought the last shop that I brought it to fix the brake line just to get it like passable and drivable to sell. He's like, yeah, bring it to a dealership. They give you $1,500. You know, it gets auctioned off. It gets sent right to Africa.
Africa or
like-
Saudi Arabia.
I'm like, you know what? You're probably right. And it probably is just gonna go straight down there where someone uses it to get. Probably just gonna. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's probably just gonna get sent down to Africa and it'll be used as a car that doesn't need to be like super, safe for highway usage, right?
That's probably not going on a highway.
Yeah.
It'll rattle itself to
I was just thinking that they were going to put it on their lot, post it for $5,000. People are going to come in and they'll be like, would you negotiate? Like, the underside's really rusty.
they'll
They're like,
never sell
firm
that.
price.
They can't sell that car, especially with the lemon law and mask. They can't sell
They
that car.
cannot sell a
Yeah,
car.
that,
like
that car just gets either sent to scrap or just.
That's
shipped
why
off.
I'm surprised they give me $1,500.
There are companies though that just sell cars like that from America to random like countries like that.
Yeah.
There are full blown like operations that just go buy
But
like
it'll be
clapped
like-
out like all wheel drive cars and send them to weird countries.
It'll probably be like charity auction for somebody who doesn't want the car. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they'll pay to scrap it for some charity, and
They
it'll
also do
end up-
that too, yeah.
Like that's the best thing for everybody.
I've seen some people, by the way, asking, like, there's people, whenever we go everywhere, they're like, oh, I wish I was there. I wish we could, like, say hi and meet you guys. By the way, we can say some events that we're going to. Just, like, we have kind of a schedule planned out. We're going to Greenwich Concours in Connecticut the first week of June, first weekend.
That'll be really
of June.
good. If you guys are from anywhere around the Boston, New York, even Philly, Connecticut, any of that area, you should definitely come out to that show.
That's gonna be
It's
good.
honestly not too expensive to go to in terms of like all the really big car shows. You can stay in hotels around the area for pretty cheap, like Stamford, that area. Not too bad. And then the getting into the show itself isn't too bad either for a concourse, but also just walking around Greenwich during the show is awesome.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of cars driving around.
Car spotting stuff to do. So if you're in the area, you should definitely check that out. It's always a good show, always a good time. I've been going for like the past 7 years. So
Yeah. Then Car Week, like we said, with the 911, hopefully, if it all works out, which would really surprise me. So we'll see if that happens. And then the car is going to stay there for Rensport Reunion.
yeah, and the car, if you want to make sure you see the car at Car Week, it'll be at Works Reunion. It'll be shown at Works Reunion, so that'll be a good one to go to.
And then we will be likely at the F1 race in
Texas.
Texas.
Austin, I think that's October.
That's October. And then the only other event I can think of at the end of the year is we will probably be at SEMA.
Yeah,
would
maybe
guess.
Vegas F1 too.
Maybe.
Tyler.
We have some contacts. Maybe they can help us out. But yeah, so those are all events that we will be at. Definitely, we will be at Car Week. Even if the 911 isn't finished, we will be there. But
It'll be
it'll be finished. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah,
So
we'll
stick
make
around
sure
for that.
gets out there.
We also have to drive across the country. So if you have any suggestions of places, definitely let me know. Any food, any cool spots. We can bring the 911, take
People
some
to
photos of it.
visit.
People to visit. We're maybe going to visit some YouTubers who are friends of ours on the way as a surprise. And we'll be taking vlogs across the entire country. But without any further stuff, let's get into maybe some questions from Instagram because I know they're rolling in.
Questions for sure.
Questions from Instagram. Okay. So here's a little light starter. You have to pick a water of some kind to drink. Are you going sparkling, water with ice, or water with no ice?
Water with ice.
Water with ice.
I'm just going with a really cold cup of water, but no ice.
Okay.
You can't have that.
You're getting water with no ice.
Yeah, I can have
It
that.
doesn't specify temperature.
All right.
Because it's better. It's better, right?
I like
if
the
you
ice.
can have just a cold.
No, I like the ice. I like that.
See, for me, if it was just like a cold
Because then the
glass
ice
of
melts
water-
into more cold
What
water.
kind of ice?
See, I drink water really fast.
Spring water ice.
No,
Like
no,
what
like crushed
shape?
or cubed.
Ooh, baby
Not
cubes.
crushed.
I
Yeah,
like
baby
cubes.
cubes.
I like
Baby
big cubes.
Baby cubes.
Baby
You like a
cubes.
big cube?
If I were to have it, it'd be big cubes.
Yeah.
They
I
last
like the
longest.
ball cube.
Oh, the big ball cube,
The
like
sphere.
a whiskey. Yeah.
Ice sphere.
Yeah. I've never
Somebody
had that.
asked, what happened to the Civic? Great question. So we did have a
Africa.
$500 Honda Civic.
Literally.
We had a $500 Honda Civic, and we only have so much parking here, to be honest. And we bought the 911, and at the time there was more cars here. So that car was donated for a tax deduction.
Yeah.
Kidney Foundation, man. They'll
Easy
and
come,
get-
easy go.
If you have a car that you need to get rid of, just call them up. They'll bring it.
They've
They'll-
gotten rid of multiple hundreds of dollars worth of Hondas for us.
Yeah, we have given them many a Honda. But that's where that car went. Maybe we'll get another, crappy car in the future to do some videos with because they're fun to have around. When we have more space, I'd love to get a shop at some point. That's a dream. Putting that out into the universe, hoping that can happen sometime soon, especially as we do more builds. Likely we won't want to get rid of the stuff that we build.
If you have a shop and you're in the Boston area and you want to let us use your shop for free because we're nice, let us know.
Definitely
Let us know. Let us know about that.
We are
Somebody
nice.
asked, this could be for all of us because we're all sort of into this. That wasn't what I was going to say. They said, what motivated you to start content creation? I guess just like and any advice to someone starting. We all do content creation in
Yeah.
our own ways, and we all started actually differently.
I mean, I started as a professional photographer.
Yeah.
That was how I got into all of this world with even the car stuff. And to be honest, I mean, I was young. I've been shooting professionally even, I would say, since I was like 15. But I always just found it cool. For me, if you're getting solely into content creation for the purpose of, I just want to make the most money possible.
Like you
I
see
don't
Logan Paul
yeah,
making money.
You see these YouTubers, you think, I just want to make all the money in the world. And you don't care about anything that you're doing, whether you're like Noah or I started out caring a lot about quality too. And now that we're doing the Captain Crankshaft thing, it's definitely a different focus. We just want to be funny. We want to include the viewer into the video. We want to make good, watchable content that anyone can enjoy. And but that's beside the fact, really. I think it's just if you want to do it, not just because you think it's a good way to get views, be famous, and make money, you'll do all right because you'll actually care about what you're doing. You can tell when somebody, and I mean, you guys can say if I'm wrong, but you can tell when somebody's just doing it to make money by the way they talk to the camera, by the way they go about everything that they do. And I think that's just the wrong way to do it. And that's something that the new generation of content creators, you see it a lot because everyone's just like, oh, well, I can just be a YouTuber full time and make money. And, I kind of like sports. So I'll just talk about sports and like copy the same format that everyone else is doing. For one, find something creative. You can jack people's style. That's how some of the biggest creators started. But find your own twist on it. And also just find something that you actually care about and enjoy. And it'll go so much better. I love cars and I love taking a beautiful picture. That's how I got into it. It's evolved a lot since then, but I just love working on cars and with cars.
That's a super important point, by the way. I've worked with people who are in it for the wrong reasons. I've seen a lot of people who are in it for the wrong reasons whom I don't know, but it always is the same case. Like this job is like a slog. Like you do most of the work, especially at the beginning, you're doing it all for free. Mm-hmm. And it might never take off. And the thing with YouTube is like you can put years into a channel. I've done that. That never takes off. And you stop and nothing happens. You can put years into it, nothing happens, and then the next day, suddenly you have views. So like the thing is you have to be, we talk about this all the time here, but you have to be willing to do the work for free. And it's not like, even when you have followers, like a lot of you would probably assume we make a lot more money than we do. I doubt that we make as much money as you think we do.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Not right now.
Not right now. Not right now.
Maybe someday we will.
Maybe, hopefully someday. When we're buying GT3 RSs, you'll know.
Yeah.
We'll definitely make it pretty clear.
You'll see it. And
But-
we want to we want to make the money go back into the content. We're not
Yeah.
going to just take the money and run and not share it with you guys. We love cars. We know our viewers love cars. So when we have the money, it'll go right back into the cars. It'll go right back into sharing the cars with people.
We want to give cars away.
We want to give cars away. We want to
you
do
guys.
drives around the country. We want to show off everything that we have. Not show off, but we want to show it to all the people that made it possible.
Yeah,
so you'll
exactly.
know when
but
we're making money.
The thing is people get into it for the wrong reasons, and like I would do all of this for free. Like I would. There's sometimes we're doing something, and me and Will are like, we'd pay to do this.
Yeah, literally.
But instead, we are getting paid to do this.
Yeah.
So like, it's really important because there's so many people just in it for the absolute wrong reasons. It's never going to work because it takes a lot more work than you think it does. You have to be willing to do every job. The only way YouTube channels work and social media works is you have to run a lean team. You can't have too many employees like you could with a television show where they have like all these people they pay. So you have to know how to do a lot of different things. And if you don't love it, I certainly don't love every part of the job, but I love pretty much every part. If you don't love it, that's going to be a rough one. It'll never work. You got to do what you love. That's really most important.
It does take a special type of person to be able to be a content creator for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
definitely.
For me specifically, like it boils down to a couple of things. I'm a fitness content creator. And above all, I really like personal training. That's been my first, job that I actually really enjoyed doing, helping people reach their goals. And now I can help over 100,000 people reach their goals and make money doing it. And that's the dream for me. And number two, like I just always have been a creative. Like even down to when I was 5-6 years old, I had a flip video camera. I would take little videos of things here and there, like try to make an edit out of it, like just for my own enjoyment. And I think that's what it comes down to. If you are doing it because you literally like being creative and creating things, like when I make a video for a company now, and it comes out great, I'm excited because I like watching it. Like, it's not that I'm like, this is going to be a hit and I'm going to get 1 million views and a lot of money. Like, it's like, I'm like, that's a damn cool video and I can't wait to keep getting better at it. And I think the number one advice that I have, I agree with not getting into it for the wrong reason, but if you really want it, if you really want to become a successful content creator, it just boils down to consistency.
Yeah.
You just have to be consistent, be disciplined. Sometimes the motivation is high. Oftentimes the motivation is low. But if you're disciplined and you push through those points, you will learn. You will become better. People will see that. People will find you naturally, and then you will get more into the groove of expanding. And I think that that's what's happened with all of us in our respect.
And honestly, to be very, very open about it, me and Jackson with Captain Crankshaft, especially right now, we're at a point where we took on a pretty big expense, being the 911 build, and it's not the same as it was before that, in a sense that we can't just like live off the little bit of money that we were making, because we have to spend basically all of it on the car. That's just how it is when you want to start
Sometimes
something new.
sponsors pay for stuff, but not always.
Yeah, I mean, even with the exhaust, we still had to pay for part of that. So
got to take a risk.
yeah, it's a big risk, and
Risks
it
are
definitely
important.
it makes it sometimes a little bit scarier. You know, we're going into these videos not with the okay, I hope this does well. We're trying something new. Now these 911 videos, they actually have to work for us, which is definitely a little bit scarier. And this is the hardest part of starting a channel: is you take the one big risk. And I feel like every successful YouTuber will tell you which project it was, if they're a car person, which opening of a thing, which selling something. Like Noah's actually, if you guys want to check it out, he started to sell programs that are like for either like exercises, fitness routines, or even just grocery shopping. That's super cool. I actually literally bought the grocery list without even telling him because I'm terrible at eating well. And I just wanted it. But there's always like these things like, and for us, the 911, even though, it's only 15 grand, it might not sound like a huge number. It might be the cheapest 911. For a YouTube channel that does not make that much money, it's still a big expense. And this build is not going to be cheap either. So
we also have to pay for our lives. Like if me and Will didn't eat food and didn't have to live anywhere, we'd be doing fine. Yeah. But the problem is we eat food and we live somewhere. So that's a slight problem. I wish it wasn't having to do that. But as time goes on, we took a risk. We jumped into it. We do this full time. I think the risk was important. With all this stuff with content creation, another tip of advice I would give, since we're giving out some, is with all of it, just like you just have to do it. Like, don't take any completely unnecessary risk. Calculated risks are very good. and what I would recommend. But like, if you're about to post your first video, don't think too much about it.
Do it.
If you don't post it, you're never going to learn. Like I can go back and watch every short that I've done. We make literally almost one piece of content every single day. Probably more, which is crazy to think about. But I can look at videos from a month ago and realize stuff that I did wrong that I'm going to change now. It's all minor adjustments, and you will never make those adjustments if you don't just do it. Yeah. So just get the freaking content out, man.
We get these messages a lot. How do you start? You just
start.
Yeah.
Your video is going to be terrible, and that's fine.
And you know what? Maybe it won't be terrible. Maybe you're a natural, but you'll never know if you don't post it.
Yeah, you'll never know. Maybe.
People look at, and I look at the way that Jackson speaks to a camera. I'm like, it's just amazing the way that he can rattle off scripts like that.
It is crazy, actually.
In the tone that he gets perfect every single time that encapsulates the audience. I don't know. Captivating audience, whatever. But I hear him doing that. I'm like, wow, that's amazing that he can do that. But if you look back at Jackson's very first short he ever posted on his finance videos long ago, he's like, if you want to get finances right, you're going to have to do one thing straight. You know? And like now it's like, this guy, Lamborghini, Ferrari, million miles an hour speeding ticket.
And you're believe.
Like, and as a viewer, you're like, what? Like, you don't even know
you can't
what
scroll.
hit you, you know? And like, I think that's why it just boils down, same thing with fitness results. If you want to see results in the gym, the best time to start is a long time ago. But if there's no long time ago for you, then you start today. Like, it's not, I'm going to start at the beginning of June and do a 30-day challenge, because you're never going to stick to that forever. Just do something today, and it will impact tomorrow, and that will keep going.
You're never going to see results the next day. No. Like maybe some very, very, very tiny results, but probably not.
People expect like, if I make a decent video, I'll just immediately get 100,000 views and thousands.
No, we can't even hit 100,000 on long form yet.
That's just not what happens, you know? So even if your first 100 views don't do well, or videos don't do well, the 101st might do well, and then the first 100 will start to get backfilled on views. Just being consistent, putting yourself out there, doing what you care about, and most importantly, not worrying about what people think. Because even like, I've only done a few shorts on our channel talking about motorsport stuff. I'm always sitting there like, like my friends are going to see this, people that don't see me on camera.
I've stopped caring. I used to think the same way.
I honestly don't even care anymore, because what are they going to say? Oh, this guy's making videos that get a lot of views? Haha, loser.
It's crazy,
And you know what? You will get the views. If you put the work into it, if you honestly, listening to your comments is always helpful. Some people are afraid of reading mean comments. The mean comments can help you the most as a content creator, because those people don't care about being honest.
You get used to it too.
Yeah, you do.
It actually doesn't. At first, I would get a mean comment and I would like delete it, and it made me feel so bad. Now I just think it's so funny, because you just don't take it. You learn that over time. It doesn't happen overnight. But yeah, I think if you go make a video. Let's just say go make a short form video, make one a day for 30 days, or if you're making a long form video, make one a week for a year. If you don't see an improvement, you can like literally shoot me an email, because I would be incredibly surprised if you don't. First off, you'll learn a ton. And second off, if you just keep doing it, you literally will succeed. Like there's going to be low moments and it's going to suck sometimes. And we've certainly had those, but if you keep doing something, there will be a time where something changes and it clicks, and you just have to be willing to make minor adjustments. You can't do the same thing over and over again. That's crazy. But if you make little changes and you get a little bit better at the thing you're doing, it's like working out. Like Noah said, you go hit the gym for a year straight. If you don't see a result after a year,
you're really doing something.
Yeah, you will see a result after a year.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Same as content creation. Same as everything you do in life. And like honestly, this journey of content creation has taught me just so much about like myself and like the way that I approach things now. So you should do it too. If that's something you want to do, you should do it.
Also,
for sure.
If you consume a lot of content, it'll make it easier. And if you're listening to this podcast, you probably do. Watching other people in the space makes it 500 times easier. Listening to other creators that have gone through it and failed and failed and failed and succeeded, like it makes it easier. There are so many creators that their whole channel is based on being a creator. And those are the kinds of people that will just make your life easier. So like always don't be afraid to just Google or YouTube search what the issue is you're having. there's a pretty high chance that someone else has had the same issue, and someone else, and they've made videos talking about how they got around it. There's always
there's a big community.
It's a very helpful community, to be honest.
Whoa. Before we get back into this, we have a little announcement. I'm super excited to announce that the sponsor of today's podcast is AutoTempest. And if you haven't used AutoTempest, well, you're missing out. Because AutoTempest is pretty much a cheat code when it comes to looking for a car. We've all used it literally like almost on the daily.
It before they sponsored us because I go through cars a lot. And I shop for cars more than I go through cars because I'm always bored and I always want something new. And even if I don't want something new, I'm always looking for it. And AutoTempest takes cars from every single car search site that I normally would use, puts it all in one place, and just makes my life easier.
Yeah, it literally saves you time. You'd be stupid, honestly, not to use AutoTempest because it, like Will says, all the sites, one place. So single search, you see everything. You can sort by cheapest, find the cheapest 911, for example, in the entire country. That's exactly what I did.
Or don't do it because we did already.
Yeah, don't copy us. But what you can do, and what I highly recommend, is you go check them out at the link in the description. And if you find a really cool listing, please send it our way. We are offering free merch to whoever sends us the coolest listing via Instagram. So go click the link in the description. Check them out because honestly, I am like over the moon that they sponsored us. I'm super excited to be working with them, and I'd love to continue working with them. So
it's kind of like shopping for fruit at the supermarket. It's all right in front of your face, every species. Or you could go and pick strawberries from the strawberry field and then walk all the way to the raspberry bush to get your raspberries.
And now that's inconvenient.
Yeah, that's inconvenient. So I like to go to the supermarket, which is AutoTempest in this scenario, and have all the options from everywhere just laid right in front of my face. So that's why I like it.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Go check them out. Link in the description. And now let's get back to the conversation.
Back to the podcast.
Moral of the story, if you want it, do it. Be consistent. Be disciplined because motivation comes in and out. And I think we should maybe tackle one or two more questions.
Yeah. Let me pull some stuff up, and we can talk more about that.
Moral
too.
of the story, do it.
Yeah. I also wanted to add is like,
Nike.
when we were finishing up that end of the conversation is like, if you want to get into content creation, we came into content creation with the mindset, which might have been kind of wrong. It's just how I was. Like, I'm a very competitive person. I looked around at everybody making content, and I was like, that's the competition. I literally have a spreadsheet tracking everybody's analytics. I will like go on their channel once a month, look at all the numbers, go on like Social Blade, which like tracks everybody. And then
people that are friends.
Now they're our friends.
Yeah.
I met them and I was like, oh, the competition. And now everybody is so willing to help one another. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I was thinking about it wrong the whole time.
Yeah,
like,
it's not competition at all.
Like,
those are your coworkers.
Rising tide floats all ship. If you get into this career, which is a very strange world, it's not like a regular office job. Like these people, they're kind of like your coworkers. Like it's all a team. We all succeed if one person succeeds, kind of. Like it helps all of us. Somebody learns something, they share it with everybody else. Once you get into like, I feel like we're now rising from the minor leagues, maybe into maybe a little bit more. I'd like to say maybe the major leagues a bit. Mm-hmm. We're talking to much bigger content creators. We're getting, more views, invited to more things, which is really exciting for us. Really excited. I feel like as a community, we get to bring you into all that with us. But yeah, everybody just wants to help one another. And competition's good, but make sure you're helping people.
It's much better to make friends in the industry because there's not really weight on their backs to help you. Like I've had people in the fitness industry help me out, and all it does is help them too because they start learning things from me. I start learning things from them. And then we have a mutual connection, which, can tie us to a bunch of different people as well. So I think that's just like, instead of looking at it like competition, look at it like inspiration that can help you, and don't be afraid to reach out. No matter how small you are, by the way, reach out to people that you are fond of because they might just reply.
Yeah.
I reply
they probably
to
will.
almost all of my meaningful DMs on Instagram.
Me too, yeah. I try to.
So, don't just think that like, oh, I won't message because like they're never going to see it. Like, give it a shot, because if they never see it, whatever.
I'll still message people. Like I do this now. I'll message. It helps, I guess, to have an account that has followers because people are more likely to respond. But I will message people, and I did this before that, and I still got messages back. I'll message people who I think are doing really cool stuff, and I'm not asking for anything. I'm just like, hey, I just love what you do. Like I just want to say, like, I really appreciate what you do. Like I think it's great. Like keep doing it. And like those people always reply. Like I just talked to John Tamarian, who owns Curated in Miami, who like restores old Lamborghinis and like tells really interesting car stories. You should check him out. I just really admire what he does. And I sent him a message. He was like, come down anytime. Like, super nice guy. And it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't shot him a message just because I thought what he did was cool. So definitely always worth the message. Don't ask for stuff, but just, you can if you want to, but just send them a message if you like what they do. Cause I'm sure everybody's looking to, everybody's human. It doesn't hurt to be nice. So that's not bad. Let's see what other questions we got going on. I didn't post it all that long ago, but let's see. We get a lot of similar questions about dream car all the time. We've answered that before.
Through that.
40.
GT3.
GT3.
Fair enough.
997.2 GT3 RS 4.0.
F40. Just how it comes.
How it comes.
To be exhaust.
From factory.
To be style.
Yeah, to be style, yeah.
That's what I want.
Somebody said, this is very similar to the last question.
F50 is what
it was just who or what made you decide to do social media? We can keep answering social media questions because we don't get those as much as car questions.
Can I go first on this one?
Yeah.
Jackson. Not purely Jackson. Like, I always knew that it was going to be probably the outlet that I wanted to explore eventually, but I would never be where I am today without Jackson's hard working trial and error. And I just got to say, like, I have mooched a lot of valuable information from this guy about social media. And like, it's not that you need to have one of those people in your life, but like, that's why it's important to reach out to people that you're fond of, because even the smallest little advice, like, I always try to give this, the advice of consistency and discipline, because that's what kept me going. And you remember, like, I started and I wasn't getting the same. Jackson and I started Captain Crankshaft and my fitness page at the very same day, pretty much. And my thing was a lot slower moving. And I was like convinced that there was something wrong with my account.
Oh, dude,
shit.
Noah
like,
would come up to me every night.
Hates me.
Yeah, Noah would come up to me every night. He's like, I think something's wrong with my Instagram. Like, I think they shadow banned me. Just so you know, shadow banning, I really do not believe it's a thing. I don't believe it.
Unless you're doing something really bad.
Yeah, you'll know if you're shadow banned.
Regardless, have somebody that can keep you on track, because I am a fitness coach. I keep people on their workout track and I don't let them quit. And Jackson was the same for me in terms of social media. And like, now I'm doing this full time and I will be doing this full time for the foreseeable future. And I just like, I don't know if I would have I don't think I would have given up, but I think it would have been a lot slower moving. And what really got me into it was just like that we always used to mess around and make videos. Like, I consider myself part of Captain Crankshaft channel, even though I'm not like officially affiliated, but like, we used to do this all the time. And like, it was fun. We had fun making videos. If you have fun making content, you should make content and you shouldn't stop.
The battle,
Yeah.
As long as you enjoy it, it'll be more enjoyable for people to watch.
Yeah, that comes across, by the way. Yeah. Like, there is old videos that I did where I am not having fun. Because before this, if you want to know the journey of my social media, it went me making Forza videos when I was 11. That didn't last very long. There was a channel. Me making car edits when I was like 14, 15. Those were terrible. That didn't last long. The channel does still exist if you can find it, but I won't tell you what it is. Then there was then there was Limited Slip, actually. And then Limited Slip kind of died off because I went to college and everybody was doing different things, and Noah went to California. And then after that, I was doing real estate sales before this. And I was like, there's this guy named Ryan Serhant from $1 Million Listing New York. Maybe you have seen it. I don't know. But that guy, it was like a social media genius. And I started making videos to help rent apartments. And that was kind of starting to get views. I started to learn how, like, that was right when TikTok started. And then it moved into like, it's just a constant stream of stuff. But then it moved into personal finance. And I only did personal finance for the wrong reasons. I like personal finance. Don't get me wrong. I do kind of think it's interesting, but I don't know very much. I'm kind of an idiot. I just do it for fun for myself, and I shouldn't give financial advice to anybody. I'm not qualified. And also,
Don't go buy old 911.
I only really did it because there are all these guys on YouTube who say how much they make from YouTube, and they're personal finance guys, and personal finance pays really well on YouTube. But when you go watch those videos, I'm not having fun. I'm reading off a script. It's not interesting. I have to like find a way to make it cool, but I'm not really that interested in it. Where then I start making car videos or like business videos before this, which was really the thing that started to spike first. And then you can see that I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
Like I truly enjoy finding weird facts about business stuff. That's where our future came to be. That's one of these plaques back here. And then car stuff after that. I've always loved cars. It makes the most sense. I'm having the most fun. That comes across on camera. So another reason to not do it just for money, because it won't go well.
And also, well, I guess first, who actually made you start that? Do you even remember?
Who made me start?
Like, was there a specific person? Because honestly,
It was so long ago.
for me too, I actually just this year, probably right around this time, was 10 years since I started my photography account.
Yeah.
I did it 2013 because that was when I was like, I remember I was in the teen group at my camp.
Oh.
And I remember
Big baller.
the first picture, we were on like a trip to go canoeing, and there was at the time like the 2012 GTR Black Edition, and I remember it was sitting in the parking lot, brand new, and I was like, "That's so cool!" I snapped some pictures of it with my whatever it was at that time, probably an iPod Touch. I don't even think I had an iPhone then.
Oh, that's fire.
And I went home later, and like I had my own Instagram, and even then I was like, I don't think, is it weird if I post pictures of the cars on it? So then I made this account. It was at that time it was supercars_MA, and I just posted the picture of the GTR. Probably got one like. It probably didn't get any likes because no one followed me. And then I got into photography at my school because they had a photography class. Started taking pictures of birds, and I took pictures of birds for
That's
like
crazy.
a year before I even took a picture of a car. I would go to
My
car
man was
shows.
bird spotting.
I would go to. Actually, I didn't even really go to car shows then. I probably went to one car show then. I wouldn't even bring my camera. I'd bring my phone. I'd take pictures of my phone, and then I'd go take pictures of birds with a camera that my parents got me for my birthday.
should restart that.
And then I was like, what'd you say?
We should restart the bird account.
Oh, the bird account, definitely, yeah. Birds of Mass.
Birds of Mass.
For those, my photography account is Cars of Mass. If you want to go check it out, that's where my work is. But I literally was like, one day I was like, I have this camera, and I go to look at cars. Why don't I just take this camera and start posting pictures? And then it was like a $300 Nikon, started taking pictures. And then for like my birthday next year and Christmas of one year, actually, it was combined. My parents were very nice. They bought me a much nicer camera. And then I started to take it more seriously. I got a job. I was taking pictures full-time for Q Car Care, a detail shop in Burlington. I started doing the car spotting stuff full-time. I was working with brands, like doing shoots for people privately. And it just started to snowball into my love for content creation. But honestly, there probably was some photographer, whether it would be someone that I'm friends with now that I met at a car show that spawned the idea of me doing it. Or I honestly think I just decided it was cool to post pictures on Instagram. Because like at that point, that's all Instagram was just pictures. And not a lot of it was high quality.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone in particular actually spawned my like love for content creation and for taking pictures and doing it. I think it just it was natural for me. I just liked making stuff that people liked.
Yeah, it's very fulfilling. I think I did similar stuff. Like I watched a lot of YouTube, so there was a lot of idols there. But honestly, I think the first spark was I was playing I used to play a lot of RuneScape. I don't know if any of you played that game.
I did not.
Anyone out there? RuneScape, old game, like the first like big online game. And like I just wanted to make edits of all the cool stuff I did in the game, and I just started making content like that.
Skrillex edit.
Yeah, there really was. If I can find one, I will throw a link.
That's sick.
But I don't know where they are anymore.
For me, like I used to take photography classes in high school as well and do a lot of film photography. So that's sort of where like my creative like feeling and passion came from. And then we just wanted to, in high school, like I keep bringing up the old channel, but in high school, all we wanted to do was like mess around with cars and have fun, and that came
just
across
share it with people
so well, and literally watch it ourselves. That's what we wanted. We're like,
we are most of the views on that
we
channel
are
over
most
the
of the
years.
views. We would watch those videos over and over and be like, "This video's fire. It's sick.
Let's watch
And
it again.
It was so
It
funny
shot
to us.
flames.
And like that's sort of where I come back to. I always root back to that now. Is I create a video that is. You know, some of my videos I create and I'm like, this is shit, but you got to post it anyway and just go with the flow. But those videos that you create and you're like, I love this one. That's what it's about.
Those
like,
videos
that's
also
what keeps me
do
going.
better.
They do
Almost
better because
every
it
time
always comes across.
Me and Jackson are like, oh, this video is amazing. It's a 1 out of 10, which YouTube ranks all the videos you post out of the past 10 if you don't know YouTube. But
1 out of 10 is what you want.
you really, when you see a 1 out of 10, it's like, let's go.
We got a nice 1 out of 10 today.
Oh, yeah,
that's a great
it's
feeling.
1 out of 10ing right now. We're on a high right now.
Yeah, check that.
1 out of 10 high.
But yeah, it's I don't know what I was gonna say. But maybe we should wrap.
Let's do a couple more questions, maybe.
I don't think we have a ton right now because I
we don't
posted
even
too
have
late in the
time.
day.
We've been going for like an hour and a half.
Okay, fair enough then.
For first podcast, guys, welcome back. There's going to be more of these. I'm hoping to do one. I don't want to make too much of a promise, but probably one every other week. Would
Maybe
be a good
one
time.
a week if we
Maybe
can.
one a
We'll
week if we
try.
can.
But
I would like to get one done a week, but
Yeah.
I would too. So look out, subscribe
busy.
to the channel. Definitely we'll have some guests on next time. The plan is to just keep the guests coming. We have a good amount of guests lined up, people who want to come on the podcast, people who we think would be great. So I'm excited to get them on here. So thank you so much for watching.
thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. See you soon.
See you next time.
All right, don't
subscribe
finish
to
yet.
this new channel
Subscribe to the new channel.
if you want to see more episodes.